Welcome to another video of Optatube. Today, we're going to talk about a huge idea you hear from politicians all the time, energy independence. You know the promise. If a country could just produce all of its own energy, it would be totally safe from global shocks and crazy price swings. But what if that whole idea is just, well, a myth?
Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why the idea of independence is so darn appealing. Then, we'll dive into the interconnected reality of energy today. After that, we'll compare independence with a much smarter goal, resilience. And finally, we'll map out a realistic path forward.
Okay, let's get right into it. Why is this concept of energy independence so powerful? Honestly, it comes down to the feeling of security and control that it promises. It just sounds safe, right?
I mean, you've heard this a million times. It's the classic pitch. It feels empowering, doesn't it? The idea is that a country can just build a kind of economic wall around itself, protecting its people from chaos happening thousands of miles away. It's a simple message, and it's a really powerful one.
So, in most people's minds, independence means total isolation. It means you don't need anybody else for your energy. But here's the thing. This popular definition, the one we all kind of picture, it's built on a huge misunderstanding of how the modern world actually works.
And that right there, that's the core truth we have to start with. Not a single major economy is an energy island. And trying to become one isn't just hard, it's pretty much impossible. Let's dig into why. This brings us to the messy, complicated, interconnected reality of our global energy system. The whole idea of a country going it alone really starts to fall apart once you look at the details.
And this is where the myth really begins to crack. See, energy isn't just one thing we can produce more of. It's this whole complex family of different commodities and technologies. A country might have tons of natural gas, but it probably still imports the rare minerals for its solar panels or the high-tech components for its power grid. It's all connected.
So let's take the most classic example of all, oil. This is the ultimate test case for the idea of independence. So let's say a country produces every single barrel it consumes. Can it control the price its citizens pay at the pump?
The answer is a hard no. And the reason is that oil is what's called a fungible commodity. That's just a fancy way of saying a barrel of oil from Texas is, for all intents and purposes, the same as a barrel from Saudi Arabia on the world market. They're all sloshing around in one giant interconnected pool.
And this is the part that most people miss. Even if your country is a net exporter of oil, the price you pay is still set by global supply and demand. A conflict on the other side of the planet will raise prices for everyone because that financial price signal travels instantly across borders, even if the physical oil doesn't.
And hey, it's not just oil. Even electricity, which feels super local, coming from your local power plant, is deeply global. The fuel to generate it, like natural gas or uranium, is often imported. The turbines, the solar panels, the software, that all comes from international supply chains. Plus, a lot of countries trade electricity with their neighbors to make the grid more reliable and keep costs down.
Okay, so if pure independence is a flawed goal, then what should we be aiming for? Well, this is where we need to shift our thinking, away from independence and towards a much more practical and effective concept, resilience.
And this comparison really gets to the heart of it. Chasing isolation, trying to build a fortress, often leads to super high costs and a system that's actually fragile. If your one domestic source fails, you're in big trouble. Building resilience, though, that's all about diversification. It's about creating an efficient and robust system that can take a punch.
So what is resilience really? It's the ability to bend without breaking. It's not about cutting yourself off from the world. It's about having so many different connections, different sources, and different options that no single point of failure can take your entire system down.
And how do you build that? Well, it's done through really smart strategies. Having a diverse mix of energy suppliers, keeping strategic reserves on hand for emergencies, building flexible power grids, and importantly, fostering strong trade partnerships. It's about creating a strong network, not a fortress.
This all leads us to the realistic goal that smart countries and world powers are actually pursuing. It's not independence, but something way more sophisticated.
The term for it is strategic autonomy. Now, it sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It means having the freedom and the flexibility to act because you've intelligently managed your risks. You're not overly dependent on any one country or any one supply chain, but you still get all the benefits of access to global markets, new technology, and partnerships.
In fact, stubbornly chasing that old myth of total independence can seriously backfire. It often means higher energy bills for everyone, less innovation because you've shut out competition, and ironically, it can make you less resilient in a crisis because you have fewer friends to call when things go wrong.
All right, let's just quickly recap the key takeaways here. First, energy markets and supply chains are global, period. Second, making more stuff at home doesn't protect you from global prices. Third, interdependence, when you manage it smartly, is actually a huge source of strength. And finally, the real achievable goal here is strategic autonomy, not isolation.
If you found this breakdown helpful, and you're interested in the nuts and bolts of energy markets, power system modeling, and getting insights on the global energy world, definitely follow the Optatube channel. We do deep dives like this all the time. So the next time you hear a leader talking about energy independence, ask yourself this question. Are the policies they're pushing actually trying to build a fragile fortress, or are they working to create a truly resilient and strategically autonomous energy future? Because really, that difference is everything.